Let's talk about Kipper. You guys have a special relationship. That one year he plays 74 games. Most backups would be choked. I never get to play. This is the shits, but you and Kipper had a great bond. What was it like playing with that guy? And I guess just any Kipper stories. I know there's the one with helicopters and Nickelback and stuff that was in your book that got it maybe here.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the more like my favorite thing about Kipper was that he always played like the aloof, like, I don't care. I don't really know what's going on. Where he was like the other way. He was sharp as a tack and he saw everything. He was very, very perceptive. So yes, watching him work every day, the coolest thing about it was he knew what it took for him to be ready. So it wasn't like, hey, I need, I'm going to go through practice. I'm going to go through this. It was like, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to take my shots. I'm going to do my pre-scout. And a lot of his pre-scout was either done in his mind because he would ask me, like, what does that guy like to do? What does this guy like to do? We always talked. So he had everything buttoned down to a point. It was almost like his formula. He'd sit and stretch in the morning. I have no idea what that guy ate for pre-game lunch. See on the road, he would have chicken and pasta, but like, he was just one of those guys who he just knew how to play and knew what it took for him to play that night if he needed extra or whatever. But you would think he was so dialed in, so intense. And he was the other way where I remember one time he always used to bug Depot, our trainer, about being cheap and whatever, like Depot. And Depot had bought his kids a guinea pig, and the guinea pig only had one eye. So like he used to, he called it like Winky or something. I can't remember what. So we're like, I'll never forget this. I'm sitting on the bench and Kipper come to the bench and we're going into a shootout. And, so whatever the score is, 3-3 or whatever, we're going in a shootout and Kipper would throw the towel to Depot would throw him the towel, he'd be mask up, he'd be drinking water. And he would always be looking at Depot and like have one eye closed and be like he just always like his timing of everything was always perfect because, you're in this pressure packed situation. He's just to go into a shootout and he's messing with Depot behind the bench, and he loved it. Like he would laugh, like he would look at me, he would have one eye closed. And people would be so rattled, like, oh, screw you, Kipper, screw you. And like Kipper would be laughing as he put his mask down. He would look at me like, because him and I knew it was like his sick form of humor. And, that's what he was like to a T. It's just, to this day, we don't talk very often, but it's like, I'll open up a text from him and it's just like a funny video or just a funny little saying, like, an article from a paper. Like he still reads things, he still follows things, but it's like, to be a picture of like somebody that we played with. And it's just like, what do they look at what this guy looks like now or something. Like, it's just funny. Like he's always had that really great sense of humor. Rhett, you witnessed it every day too.
Well, then that's the thing about him is that he loved to laugh. He loved to be having fun and enjoying it. He loved it all, but he came across as kind of Mr. Serious. Right? Like, I'm dialed in all the time. No, you're not. You're a shit disturber.
One time I was coaching. I'll never forget this too. We were going through a rough stretch and I was coaching. So I'm his goalie coach and we're having like a pretty heated coaches meeting, Brent Sutter and Dave Lowry, Rob Cookson, we got all the coaches in there and there's a knock at the door and Kipper pokes his head in and he's like, I need to talk to my goalie coach, and they're like, okay, Kipper's like, so dialed in, like, okay, Noodles, you go deal with what Kipper wants. So I go back through the gym and he's in Rich Hesketh's, our strength and conditioning is his office, but the blinds are all closed. He takes me in and he closes the door and I'm like, what's up? Like, I'm thinking, okay, like we're going to talk something. And he presses play on YouTube and it's like a funny video of like, people getting hit in the nuts with balls or something, like it was like a YouTube clip and he's like, look at this. And he's laughing, like, he's like, look at this. And he's laughing and we're watching this video and dying laughing. And like everywhere else, the house is on fire. Like, you know, we're losing games. The coaches, you know, the owner's mad. Like everybody's mad. And he's showing me this like funny home videos of like, you know, parents getting kicked in the nuts. Like that was just, and he's laughing, like dying laughing. And I'm like, just be ready to play hockey tonight. That was him in a nutshell. He was so awesome.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.